Hi, welcome to another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
And I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
So Joanne, what should we cover tonight?
I'd like to go over the functionality of the job closeout screen.
Sure. Before we go into that, I'm just going to introduce our new main menu for a second before.
Okay.
This is what our main menu is going to look like as we go forward, starting with quarter 3.
Okay.
Okay. It's a little bit of a redesign. You can access the modules either by clicking on right in the workflow, or you can access them over here on the left-hand side. Okay, by just clicking on one particular module or another.
Okay.
Okay, and I think our plan will be to showcase this a little bit more in a few upcoming videos. So anybody that has any interest in this, we'll be showing it in the next couple of weeks. Okay. So back to the job closeout. I just want to draw a little bit of a distinction between job completion and closing out the job. They are two separate, distinct steps. You do want to complete the job first in shipping. That should be the step where production says the job from a production standpoint is done. Okay. The shipments have been created, shipping charges have been recorded, packages, everything, and from all intents and purposes, production it's complete.
Okay.
So they mark it complete, which should signal to accounting that now it can go through the billing process. Okay. Then the job does need to be closed out. That's the first step in accounting.
Okay.
Okay, to say, okay, this job is now closed. Proceed to invoice.
Okay.
Okay. So we can kind of walk through that process a little bit.
Sure. Can we take a look at the job closeout screen?
Sure. Okay, so we'll start right in accounts receivable. Okay. It's in the job closeout section, which is in the lower part of the entry column. If I open this up, you first come to a screen that shows all the open jobs. There are some radio buttons across the top here. The primary focus is open jobs closing one at a time.
Okay.
The purpose there is that you highlight one job and take it through a closeout process where you can kind of look at certain details in the job. You can run the estimated versus actual, which we'll see in a minute. You can look right on this screen here. You can look at diary notes for the job specifically. So it's just a way to take one individual job through some evaluation before billing. Okay. So that's the primary purpose here. You do have an option to close multiple jobs at a time. These, again, are all open jobs that haven't yet been closed. The purpose there would be if you want to take a large group of orders, close them all at once. You don't really want to go through that single step for every job.
Okay.
Okay, so there's that. And then you've got an option here to look at closed jobs. Those would be orders that you have closed but you have not invoiced yet.
Okay.
Okay, and then you've got partially invoiced jobs that have an invoice but they're not in history yet. Okay, so where we're going to focus here tonight is taking one particular order and going through the closeout process. Now notice on the screen I can see the status is complete.
Great.
So as I started with, you do want to see the job completed first. Okay, that's kind of the handoff between production and accounting. So you want to focus here first on jobs that are complete. Then you can actually go into the status header and filter this to show just completed orders.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can, like I said, you can view any job diary notes from here. And when you close out, you'll come up to an intermediate window where you can kind of view some of the job details. You can see the last job. You can see if there's any prepayments against the order, what the price is. I like this one here. You can see what the total actual cost is, and that's coming straight out of job costing data collection.
Okay.
So, if you're selling, which this is a good example here, this job is selling for $700, but my cost is $15,000. Obviously, something was wrong. So you can see that right on the screen.
Okay.
Okay. You'll even see the freight cost here at the bottom if there's been any. You can access the shipping record if you need to make any corrections. Like here, there's no freight cost. If I know what it is, I can go back in there and put it in.
Okay.
You can run your estimated versus actual report, and you can access our price setter tool, which we talked about in our last video.
Okay.
Okay, so these are some of the things that you can do right from the closeout screen, which really is just a way for you to evaluate the order before you bill it.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, can I invoice right from the screen too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. That's actually the next step from here. Once you have done your review and you're satisfied, you can go ahead and push close out, and the system's going to ask you right here if you want to generate the invoice.
Okay.
So if you say yes, it's going to take you right to that point. If you were to say no here, it would close out the job, but would leave it in this area where people that would do that might have somebody else come in, pick up the closed job, and then create the invoice.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, do I have to close out a job before I invoice it?
No, not at all. We do have a partial invoice. So actually, if I said no here, now that job that we just were working on is closed, but it's not invoiced. Okay. But I could take, let's say, an in-process job, and I could do a partial invoice.
Okay.
Okay, so not closing out a job would be more partial invoicing, which I think we did a video on that a few weeks ago or a few months ago. So that would be taking more of an in-process job that's not completed yet.
Okay.
And getting a pre-bill out.
So then when I wanted to do the final invoice, I would close it out.
Exactly, and that would be from that job would sit in the partially invoiced jobs list over here, and then you would find it, and then you'd be able to do the final invoice.
Okay.
Okay?
Great.
Okay.
Can we go over all of the steps? You know, say I've got a job, it's physically been completed, it's physically been shipped out.
Mm-hmm.
What are the steps to take it from that point all the way through to generate the invoice?
Okay, yeah, we can look at that.
Okay.
It's actually pretty straightforward. If I go back to my open jobs list, and let me take this completed order here. Okay, we'll take one that's complete. Now shipping is just marked this complete. Okay, you want to close out. You want to review this screen here. Close out. Yes, I want the invoice. You'll have the ability to invoice by component or by job. I'll say I'm going to invoice by component. The invoice comes right up to the screen. You can make any changes you need here, and then you save the invoice, and it's been saved.
Great.
Okay, so
Pretty
about
straightforward.
4 or 5 clicks, you've got the invoice created.
Okay. Great.
Okay, and that's with all that review in there, which is a little bit subjective. You know, you don't have to look at order diary notes if there's none there. It will actually shade, I think orange or blue or something. It'll tell you that there's a diary note. So if there's nothing, that can be skipped.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Right.
it's pretty quick, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
That was very easy.
You're welcome, sure. Well, this was another episode of EPMS Tech Talk. I'm Chris Costa.
I'm Joanne LaFlamme.
Please look forward to more to come.